we can both welcome each other and you introduce yourself, Nicola, and obviously I'll go next after that.
Well, thank you so much for having me this morning, Shweta.
Mm-hmm.
So my name is Nicola, everyone, and I am a founder of Digital Independence Hub. And today I'm so honored to have Shweta connect with me to have a chat about my experience as one of the caregivers for my mother who had terminal cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to admit someone here. There's someone here.
Okay, sure.
And
Someone's. Oh yeah,
yeah,
admit. Yeah, yes, we do have Ali who has just joined us. Abdullah, sorry. Hi, Abdullah. Good morning or good evening, wherever you are in the world. You've joined us just on time, and I appreciate your presence and also the fact that you have muted yourself. But if you want to have your camera on, you are more than welcome to do that. Yeah, so sorry, continue with your introduction, Nicola.
yeah. So I'm really honored, like I said, that my experience
Mm-hmm.
dealing with the healthcare system and my mother for 5 years that was with cancer, with
Mm-hmm.
ovarian cancer. So today, I just want to share my story about how with providing caregiving with my mother
Mm-hmm.
and the family. So I'm really, really honored to be on your show today, Shweta.
And yeah, I
And
really appreciate you getting up bright and early in the morning at 6, well, even before that actually,
yeah,
um, to get on
so
there and do this for me. So Nicola and I are not only are we good friends, but we're also business partners, even though our businesses are like completely different. Um, whilst that you have mentioned business, I'll introduce myself as well. I mean, some people who are here, hopefully they have seen me on LinkedIn. I'm most active over there. So my name is Shweta. I am the founder of Healthy Dynamics, and I help healthcare professionals who are from English as a second language backgrounds, who are either based in a native English speaking country or are working in an environment with patients where the patients are English as a second language or native English speakers, and what I help them do is to help them become better communicators, not just improve their language fluency, but also to help them become better communicators so that they can achieve professional success by getting glowing testimonials, reviews, and build trust and influence and authority with their patients, and progress in their career. One of which is the opportunity to obviously diversify your professional, your professional repertoire, but also to be able to work in different settings. Okay, now I do have the PowerPoint that has come up, so I can share my screen.
would you like to share your screen,
Actually, no.
Shweta?
If it's like this, we can keep it the way it is. Okay.
Yeah, and you could just tell me that when to go to
Okay.
the next slide.
All
That's
right.
excellent.
All right. So, would you mind introducing? Well, you've introduced yourself, but
Yeah.
just share with me before we get into your story about yourself as a caregiver, but also someone who has been working as a support worker with patients who are, have health challenges in one way or the other. So,
Yes.
so I just wanted to get your perspective on this quote, which is true resilience isn't about being unbreakable, it's about knowing how to bend without breaking. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on what
Yes. So working as um a mental health support worker
that means. Mm-hmm.
and also working in disability, working with high challenging behaviors, um, which is alongside my role as a digital coach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love to help people, and
Mm-hmm.
so I choose to still be in that role,
Mm-hmm.
blending the both. And yes, it's to be a really good support worker and support people out there. you really need to have the experience. And instead of just so much textbooks,
Yeah.
the experience is worth its weight in gold.
Sure.
And when I'm dealing with patients, you have to be resilient, you've got to be non-judgmental, you have to be understanding, and you have to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
You have to listen to cues of what the patient is saying. Some of them are unable to speak. So
Mm-hmm.
you've got to look at other communication cues, body language, their stance, whether or not when you prompt them to do something and they don't want to do it, there's protesting.
Mm-hmm.
So at first, when I had started the role, there wasn't a lot of education and
Mm-hmm.
training.
Mm-hmm.
So you did make a lot of mistakes. But
Okay, as we all do.
so as we're, going forward in the future, there's training now available, and it's really highly recommended, because
Mm-hmm.
without that training, the results that we're getting with our clients is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So, for an example, is we couldn't take a client out into the community
Yeah.
without a meltdown, without somebody getting hurt. Um, but with the training, we got to learn about how to keep our distance, how to actually acknowledge how the patient is feeling, and to give them some choices instead of telling them what to do. So in my role as a support worker, you really need to have a lot of resilience.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So some people can take it to heart, take it very personally.
Mm-hmm.
Say if a client or a patient doesn't want to be in the same environment as them,
Mm-hmm.
some support workers can feel very offended and insulted, but it's really showing resilience, that it's not a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's something, it is their territory, it's their map, their diagnosis. It's nothing to do with you personally. So you need to have a lot of resilience in that role.
Yeah, I think also acknowledging the fact that you have certain emotions. So in this case,
Yeah,
you might be feeling frustrated, you might be anxious, but at the same time, not take it personally, because it is not a reflection of you. It is something that they are going through, which they are unconsciously and unintentionally projecting
yeah.
on you, which they really don't have any control. So have you always been a resilient person, and or has your role in healthcare in the past, has that sort of shaped your resilience?
Yeah, no, I was never a resilient person. I did take it personally,
Mm-hmm.
but as with the role, with the experience and the years that I had, I became resilient because
Mm-hmm.
I started to understand more, started to have training.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we had behavior practitioners,
Mm-hmm.
so that helped me to build that resilience
Mm-hmm.
through the role. So I wasn't always like that. I was quite a sensitive person.
Mm-hmm.
So even with my own mother, that transferred into my personal life as well,
Okay.
where mum would have lots of mood swings.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of trauma around it as well
Sure.
when you are being told that you've got cancer. So it's been there for them emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
supporting them, but
Mm-hmm.
also, yeah,
Yeah,
being
we're going to
resilient.
get to your experience with your mother shortly.
Yeah.
So we'll sort of do that. Um, yeah, but how did you manage to have that balance between bending and not breaking in those situations that really tested?
Coming home, de-stressing,
Mm-hmm.
finding activities to do where I could switch off.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, at first, you would bring it home
Mm-hmm.
and bring those emotions home, bring the whole day. It can be quite isolating as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have to find passions, hobbies to, how can I say, to de-stress,
Mm-hmm.
to not bring it home and not break down in a bundle of, a heap, like just break down and not go to work the next day, saying that. Another example I could give as well is that in my own personal journey, I went to Sri Lanka and I worked in an orphanage as
Yes,
well.
I'm
So
aware of that.
I was there for about 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
and at first as well, that was extremely confronting. But
Mm-hmm.
when you speak to the nuns, you speak to all the staff there, they really support you and help you.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, I had so much resilience that I was
Mm-hmm.
able to just be there, focus, be of support. What was my
Mm-hmm.
role? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I
So
think also consciously choosing to put yourself in situations that can be triggering, confronting, and challenging in many ways. Also, it's like one of those things that you do to build reps and you build a muscle. Sort of, it is like that. Yeah.
yes, and I was also a primary caregiver,
Uh-huh.
different to working in that role.
Mm-hmm.
And that also, I really take my hat off to primary carers and caregivers that 24/7 living with somebody with
Mm.
with a diagnosis
Mm-hmm.
can be quite draining.
Mm-hmm.
So as a carer, reaching out to support groups,
Yeah.
reaching out to bodies that are there, because at first I didn't know that they existed.
That they existed. Yeah. Mm.
Yes. So I think there needs to be a lot more awareness as well of support groups that are out there to support people,
Absolutely.
because you can break.
Yeah.
It's just a very tiring role. And
Yeah.
also trying to understand how you can be of support. Um, it can be too much. There's boundaries, there's all sorts of things that a person needs to understand and learn. It doesn't come, there's no book that you can just open up and just read it and say, okay, I'll follow this. No, it doesn't work like that. There's trial and error. You can
Yes.
have good days, bad days, but the important thing is that to not be alone. There are support groups and that out there.
Yeah. Because
Um,
the carer also needs to be cared for. If
Yeah, exactly. The only thing is like GPs and that are quite busy. They're very clinically focused.
Sure.
So it's with the patient and not so much about the support network.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned really well about the importance of community, and it is very true that it does take a village, and it doesn't just apply to parents, it applies to anyone. All of us deserve community, and it's one of those things that is really lacking in the world nowadays, particularly in healthcare. It's one of those roles that you cannot do in isolation. uh,
Yes,
it really takes a collective collaboration and a lot of team effort to get
yes. Do you want me to change the slide?
there. Okay. Now, yeah, just go on to the third slide, please. Okay. So, these are some of the misconceptions that people have about resilience, and I just want to, instead of going on and explaining this, just share with us your experience of how these definitions and these concepts were demonstrated or sort of defied when it came to um, the final stages of your mother, and basically what you dealt with in the healthcare system. So um, yeah, just so that we know, what exactly happened. How did the healthcare system and
Yeah,
the healthcare workers support you, and also in some ways let you down in developing resilience for against it.
so mom had her cancer just before COVID,
Mm-hmm.
so 2017. So she had it for 5 years, she fought it, and right in the middle of that was obviously COVID. And that was a very challenging time when the whole system was disconnected.
Mm.
Um, we couldn't go in with mum to see the doctors because there could only be one person or two people maximum.
And
So
this was during COVID.
yes, so that was a very challenging time during COVID, where also mum had to go into hospital and we couldn't visit her.
Mm-hmm.
So um, we had to step up with our digital technology,
Mm-hmm.
take the iPad in so she could connect with
Yeah.
family on,
Yeah.
on Facebook, WhatsApp, FaceTime, everything. There was a lot of burnout because of not seeing that person, mum, face to face, that
Mm-hmm.
you were stressed out. Is she okay? You know that my mum hated to be alone. She was
Mm-hmm.
in her room alone. So there was no one that you could actually ring, even like ring a nurse, because
Mm-hmm.
everyone's so busy there. Is mum okay? It was just relying on my mother, and I could tell that she was also not wanting me and my family to get too worried.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you're actually feeling numb, like you said there. You have burnout because you're stressed.
Mm-hmm.
You're disconnected from the whole healthcare system, where we're at home, she's there, she's in hospital. And the thing is, like, trying to put on that tough love, hey mum, and being positive
Mm-hmm.
is really hard. And mum had some major surgeries, like lung surgery, and she had a stone bag, and trying to also speak to her about having the stoma bag that was going to help her with her cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and hers quite defiant, saying, I'm never having a stoma bag. There's no way I'm going to have a stoma bag. And she didn't quite understand how that was going to help her, what it looked like. There was lack of education around that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was a huge thing, that stoma bag. And mum had a twisted bowel, and it was just getting worse and worse. And until I had to give her stories of some successful stories of
Mm-hmm.
even young people. Mum was a young 73-year-old by that
Mm-hmm.
stage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Giving her case studies, giving her stories, sharing things with her of younger people that have got stoma bags. You never notice it, you'll never see it, and she'd say, oh, what, even young people have it? She always thought that her mindset was always older people and that. So there's also that cultural background with palliative care. Once it got to that stage,
Mm-hmm.
mum was like, I am not doing palliative. You're putting a nail in the coffin. I'm not that stage. And you say, Mum, what's your definition of palliative?
Mm-hmm.
So that's it, that's the end of it. And but palliative these days are different. So there was lack of education around that as well. Making them comfortable, medication management. And she just thought that was it. And that was a huge thing to get over. That when I heard the palliative team was coming to see mum, I had to explain to them that how she was feeling, and if they could actually take it one step back and explain to her about that whole, what it looks like, because coming in to see her and saying that we can have palliative at home and this is what it's going to look like, but to actually explain the difference between palliative and hospice, and because in the old days I don't think they had hospice. So
Mm.
yeah, and so there's some of the examples. Also, by towards the end, mum had a team of probably about 5 different surgeons, one
Mm-hmm.
for blood
Mm-hmm.
clot, one for the lung, one for the heart. Sorry, one for the
Mm-hmm.
kidneys, one for the ovarian cancer that was going rampant everywhere. And
Mm.
we, as a family and as a caregiver, when I went in to see mum after COVID, um, she would say there was so much medicines. Why is she on so much medicines? they're just pumping me, Nicole. And I didn't even know why she was on so much, who was looking after what was her diagnosis, what stage was she at. So there was lots of disconnection
Mm-hmm.
from, communication, effective communication. And in fact, towards the end of Mum's life, I didn't even know what the dying phase looked like.
Mm. Wow.
And that was very traumatic for me as well. Um,
Mm.
Even Mum didn't want to eat. She couldn't eat. And
Yeah.
we were saying, "Come on, Mum, you need to eat. You need to eat." And she said, "No, no, I'm going to feel sick. I'm going to vomit." Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we said, "Mum, you need to really eat. Otherwise, you're going to get too weak." But that was apparently part of the dying phase.
Hi, Anna. Sorry, we just had Anna who entered. So welcome and thank you very much for joining us. You haven't missed much. There will be a recording available for you towards the end. So yeah, but thank you very much for your time, Anna, and thank you for joining us. Sorry, Nicola. All good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going. Yeah. So
So yes,
yeah, go on.
so that the last phase was quite traumatic. You see Mum scrambling in the air and trying to grab things, and then she was in and out of bed. And then
Mm,
one day came there and the room was in a mess. Mum was very neat and tidy. So there was lack of communication as well as to what you're witnessing and what you're seeing with a loved one
sure.
is towards the end. So that
Mm.
I didn't know, so that was quite traumatic.
Mm. I can only imagine. I've personally not experienced losing a family member like this, or probably yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are people in my family who have gone through something like this, but probably I was too young to experience it. But anyway, you mentioned about communication, and obviously that's what I really do my coaching on, which is on communication that healthcare professionals need to really get a good grip of in not only situations like what your mom faced, which is a terminal illness and where she had hospice, but even on a day-to-day basis. So how did the communication side of the healthcare professionals help or hinder not just your mom but also your resilience as an individual and for your whole family when this happened?
I was getting quite frustrated. We felt that we removed from everything. And
Mm-hmm.
then we were like, Mum was relying a lot on the doctors. And even so, the doctors didn't even, well, the oncologist or the surgeon didn't even tell Mum that, you know, they're not God, they can't give a definite day,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't even tell her that she had so much more longer to live and blah, 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 that um, my goodness, you needed a lot of resilience. You needed a lot of patience. There was frustration. You almost felt like, you know, getting angry with the oncologist, saying, "Why aren't you talking to my mother? Um, what, as a family, as a caregiver, as a daughter, what can I do to make my mum more comfortable? Have some. It almost feels like you were stripped of quality time with the time left with my
Mm.
parent. So with the nurses and that, they were fantastic, very
Mm-hmm.
supportive.
Mm-hmm.
They looked after Mum very well. It
Mm-hmm.
was just like like I said, the oncologists, the surgeons, the high level, if
Mm-hmm.
that's the way it is. They very rarely they didn't even talk to us. Um,
Right.
it wasn't until I think 2 days before Mum passed that it was around Christmas time, towards Christmas, where I was there and they said, "Oh, can you come out of the room and have a conversation?" And they said, Mum wouldn't last that long. And it was like, whoa, what? You're telling me now, just now? Um,
Mm.
so yes, I think that I know everyone's busy in that, but I think the family and the carers need to have a part in that whole community, that whole
Yes.
health, the health infrastructure.
Yes. It has to be done And I always talk about, not only for advocating, healthcare professionals advocating for patients, but also getting the family members and the caregivers of the patient on their side, and also
Exactly.
having that open dialogue, transparent communication, and that rapport with them, because the patient is not in a position where they can speak for themselves. So they need all the trust and all the advocacy that they really require at that point.
Yes.
So that, I mean, in a situation like that, the end is inevitable. It's going to happen anytime. I wish that, had there been more, I mean, had they been more up to date and more regular with you guys about, how your mom is progressing or declining or otherwise, and giving you opportunities to spend more time with her, I think the transition would have um,
Yeah.
been completely, it would have been a completely different experience for you. But on the plus side, you said that the nurses were very good. What were some of the
Yeah.
positives that you got out of the experience?
Um, the nurses were very good because they were very tentative to mum.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end, they can be a bit hard to manage because of
Yes.
their symptoms and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The nurses were very, very good to mum. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the nurses were very polite to us as family as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we would say, "How was mum today?" And they'd say, "Oh, that was the only thing too that, yeah, she's not bad, but the doctor will come around."
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, and the doctor, we'd be waiting there for many hours and then didn't see the doctor, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then you'd leave the hospital and then you haven't really had an update. But
Yeah.
um, on the positive side, no, where mum was in hospital Cabrini, Malvern,
Mm-hmm.
and the nursing staff and that were fantastic there.
Mm-hmm.
But like
Yeah.
I said, um, they were busy. They would say the doctor's coming on their rounds, um, and sometimes you'd be waiting there for hours and the doctor didn't turn up and you've got to
Mm.
go somewhere. So it was that cycle of trying to do catch up. Um,
Yes.
and mum uh loved where she was in the actual room. It was a
Mm-hmm.
newly built.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that mum really stressed out about is because she had a stoma bag.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
The mirror was too high.
Oh
So
yes, I do remember you mentioning this in the
yeah,
past.
the
Yes.
mirror was really, really high. So she couldn't see her stoma bag. And one
Right.
day I walked in and she was crying by herself in the bathroom
Oh my God.
bitterly. And she said they've built a new wing, a new room, a new hospital wing,
Mm-hmm.
and all the latest, decor, the latest technology and everything. But they forgot the mirror is too high, right? Not enough hangers to hang their clothes.
Mm.
Little things they had overlooked.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so sometimes as well, I don't know when they're building a new hospital or a new wing, they really need to test
Yeah.
patients. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Now I, just wanted to share a little bit of a brief story as well when you talked about the experience with nurses versus doctors, and this is by no means is it attacking doctors, because I know that they have a lot on their plate.
yeah,
I also was an inpatient at a psych ward two times, 2016 and 2019. And I also saw that nurses were the ones who were doing really everything. And I think for me, I was also able to, I suppose, in the program in which I was a part of, in getting myself back, where I had, without going into too much detail, I had um, peak level anxiety, depression. I had suicidal ideation. I had all those things. It sort of warranted that I had to go into a mental health facility just so that I'm safe. Um, and even over there, that's really what I noticed. The nurses were the ones who would constantly check on you, on a regular basis. And what really helped me really get myself back on my feet was the fact that there was a very strict routine in both the times that I went. I mean, the first time I went, the routine was hard to get used to, but because I went the second time, it was kind of predictable. Having our days were structured in the sense that you were expected to get up at a certain day, a certain time. If not, someone would come check on you, and and you had the day where you had the option of going to different activities. So there was time for relaxation, there was time for movement, there was time for therapy, but also therapy that you can sort of pick and choose for what you want to do. So for like multiple sessions. And so I sort of made the most of going into different places and just getting as much knowledge as possible. And I think one particular therapy session was actually about resilience, and that was quite profound, I have to say, because they looked into what the definition was, and like we did in the very beginning, where we looked at what it's being able to weather the storm and being self-aware, knowing that you're going to be able to get through this. Thank you for doing that. So you're going to be able to get through this, but it's going to take repetitions, patience, and a lot of consistency
Yeah.
in order to be able to build
Yeah.
that. And in terms of what the support that I had from the nursing staff, it was amazing. They were the ones who would always sort of hype me up when I was not really feeling the best. They always made sure that they checked on what I was doing for the rest of the day, and they always made sure that I'm actually sticking to my word and I'm actually doing it. Um, there was time for us to be creative. I do remember because I'm very much into music and I love to sing and everything. We used to have, this was the first time I went to this hospital. Every other day we would have this guy who would come with guitar, and people would just participate and we would sing. And that was an amazing outlet for me because I love to sing. So that was that again, just doing all these things. It was a very safe place where there was also accountability. I talk about that a lot. That making sure that you are doing what you're supposed to say, what you will say that you will do, and if you're not able to do it, getting the support just to make sure that you get over the hill, and also practicing the fact what they always used to say in that in every time I went in there, they would always say that you need to practice an act of self-compassion and taking and being kind to yourself, something that I think we all struggle with. I think particularly healthcare professionals, because they are expected to be kind to everybody. It's part of their job, but when it comes to giving that amount of grace for ourselves, it's a very different ballgame. I mean, all of us struggle with that, but I would imagine that with healthcare professionals in particular, it's even a challenge. Yeah, would you mind
Yeah.
just going to the fifth slide, please? Yeah. Yeah, like you mentioned, speak with honesty and transparency. And in your case, had there been more transparency and had there been more, I guess, updates, not just because it's got to be done, but because you guys are in the loop of what's going on, and just preparing you guys and really showing that support would have really made the difference, I reckon, in terms of how your mom would have, you guys would have coped as a family, and your mom's transition would have also been. Yeah, what are your thoughts on what's being mentioned here?
Yes. That definitely would have helped a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But even now, like I'm talking as a health professional, as a support worker,
Mm-hmm.
communication within the team is so important. We capture our notes, we share it with the guardians, the parents, the family.
Mm-hmm.
We make sure that we do that so that there's no misunderstandings and things like that. I think that also needs to apply back in the hospital sort of environment where
Mm-hmm.
it'd be lovely if they had somebody that would connect with a key member of the family and, you know, update them
Mm-hmm.
about mum. There was mood swings and we had to deal with that. Um, Misunderstanding. Um,
Yes.
there was, a lot happening at that same time and it's very traumatic.
Yes.
So definitely more communication
Mm.
would
Yeah.
be really appreciated.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Um, what I just wanted to, yeah, but I sort of completely agree. And this, I mean, this is not particularly a dig at the
No.
healthcare professionals individually, but systemically there needs to be a major overhaul. Um, can you just go to slide 7, please?
Uh,
It's the one just after the table.
yes, this is it.
Yes. So yeah, resilience begins with you, and you can't model what you don't embody. And yeah, you can't sort of preach what you don't practice. And how I suppose, how do you think healthcare professionals? We talked about how we can build resilience, and
Yeah.
I get that. How they can now inspire their patients and their caregivers to have done the same. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
So, sorry, can you say reframe that again?
Yeah. So how would you say that? How do you think the healthcare professionals could have uh, set an example for you and your family to be resilient when before
Uh,
your mom passed away?
yes, so really to understand what the dying phase looks like,
Mm-hmm.
um, so that we were not so, grief stricken as such.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we were unsure, we were not sure whether who was going to stay the night there, who
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. Then obviously there was family arguments and all sorts of things. I think
Mm-hmm.
for me, if they had modeled from the beginning, even what sort of cancer did she have?
Mm-hmm.
What's the journey going to look like? Um, what are the different phases
Mm-hmm.
towards the end, even palliative care, hospice, um, you know, uh, what does the dying phase look like? Um, all of that would have made us a lot more resilient, I think. Not stoic, but stronger because we were starting to fight amongst the family as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just never a fan of this stoicism. There was a point when
Yeah.
I was really sold on stoicism, but I just think that being stoic or pretending to be stoic is really damaging in many ways because it doesn't. Let's see. It because it really shows that you're sort of keeping all of your emotions inside because you want to be appear to be strong, rather than really processing them and making peace with them and things like that. um
Yes. Yes.
yeah, and because that builds up, and that again, that's an antidote to resilience, I would say. Trying to be trying to remain strict. So I have a bit of a disagreement about that, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, it was a hell of a thing.
Mm,
I think they've started to advance a bit more now. I can see
yes,
that there's
hopefully.
more support hotlines available for patients.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's also now a bit more support for the families and carers,
Mm-hmm.
and that was not readily available back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really happy to see that. Um,
Yeah.
because that is important, that family that are in that system, in that whole care team,
Mm-hmm.
be part of the care team, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think, yeah, you need to have I built a lot of resilience, but also
No one's here, so I suppose